Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining me for Take a Spiritual Journey on this evening in April 2020. I'm Reverend Robin Volker, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come and be on this journey with me. Tonight, my topic is You Make the World Complete. This series of Wednesday night lessons are from a old Unity textbook called The Quest by Richard and Mary Alice Jafala. So, let me tell you a little story. Count Leo Tolstoy was out for an evening stroll, and he comes upon a beggar who is really down on his luck and in dire straits. Tolstoy wanted to give the beggar some money to help him out, so he digs in his pockets and couldn't find any money at all. And he felt really badly about that. So he took the beggar's old and dirty hands in his hands, and he looked into the beggar's eyes, and he said, "My brother, I am so sorry. I wanted to help you, but I have nothing to give you." And the beggar's face lit up, and he said, "You have given me a rich gift in this moment. You have called me brother." Now, on the surface, we all look different from each other. We have so many descriptors that cause us to get segregated and put into this pile or that pile. There's race, there's sex, there's opinions, there's upbringing, politics, education, religion. All of these things can cause us to feel separate from each other. And when we focus on these differences, we don't see our oneness. And actually, there are many people who will journey through their entire lifetime and never experience the feeling of oneness. Remember in the lesson, What Am I? We talked about that there's an individuality within each of us that is God pressing out, and that God individualizes in each of us and presses out into this world's experience. We call that individual part of God in us. We can call it God within, Spirit within, the inner Christ, our spirit. We have all these different names that we use to identify that. It's important to remember that the inner spirit, the God within, is not dependent on any of our external variables. It is not dependent upon who we are, how we present out in the world. How we present out in the world is dependent upon how we utilize the spirit within. But the spirit within is not dependent on us. It doesn't depend on our age or our sexual orientation or our race or our religion or our background. None of that is necessary for spirit within to do its work in and through you. This inner spirit is our connection to the divine. This is the third principle in unity, that we are connected to the divinity in God through the use of our mind. And where there is this oneness, then God resides. Let's think again of the wave in the ocean. We've talked about that before. So every wave is a part of the ocean. I know you agree with that. And waves look and behave differently, don't they? They are not all the same. They may ebb and flow. They may roll and crash. They may churn and foam, but they are still a part of the ocean. They are influenced by the wind, the pull of the moon's gravity, and by barometric pressure. But they're still a part of the ocean. It's important to say right here, let's not confuse how something expresses with what it is. Let's not confuse how something expresses with what it is. We might call one wave Catholic, we might call one wave Protestant, one wave Jewish, one wave Hindu. We might call one wave Unitic. We might consider one wave to be female and one wave to be male. One wave might be Democrat and one might be Republican, and one might be independent and one might be libertarian. But no matter what label you put on a wave, it's still a part of the ocean, isn't it? And it is still has a oneness with the overall ocean, and it has a oneness with all the other waves as well. You and I are much like those ocean waves. We can put all kinds of labels on ourselves. Some of those labels we give ourselves, and some of those labels other people give us. But those labels are not going to change the Christ within. I am a woman. I'm female. That's a label. I am sister. I am wife. I am minister. I am chicken mama. Those are all labels that I have, that either people have given me or I've given myself. At a level far beyond our surface personalities and differences, the Christ Spirit resides within us, in each of us. At a level far beyond our surface personalities and our differences, the Christ Spirit resides within us. And that Christ Spirit is the same in every one of us. Very important, basic, foundational spiritual principle. We get confused because this Christ Spirit shows up differently in each of us, doesn't it? And so we think that the Spirit itself is different, but the Spirit itself is the same. It simply expresses through us based upon our personalities. I don't do sister the way you might do sister. I don't do wife the way you might do wife. I don't do minister the same way that other people do minister. The inner Christ works individually in and through me, and individually in and through you. But it's the same inner Christ that's doing the work. Let's talk about boundaries. I have this little saying that boundary is not a four-letter word. That means we don't need to be afraid of it. In the physical sense, we have boundaries that separate us. In the physical sense. And in the physical world, boundaries are actually healthy and good. And that we're actually practicing boundaries tonight because I'm here and you're there. And we are practicing physical boundaries intentionally so that we can reduce the spread of COVID-19. But in the spiritual sense, there are no boundaries. There are no boundaries between us. On the spiritual level, there's no boundary between you and me. Even though we are physically apart, spiritually, in this moment that you're listening to my voice, we're connecting heart to heart and mind to mind. There's no demarcation in spirit between where I end and you begin. Is there a boundary between a drop of ocean water and the ocean? No. And neither can you separate yourself from your true self, from the true essence of who you are, from your inner Christ. And in a true spiritual sense, you cannot separate yourself from any other life that you know. You cannot separate yourself from the entire universe. Let's talk about universe. What does that word mean? Well, universe means turn into one, turn into a whole. And it's very important as you are on your spiritual journey to remember that the universe would not be complete without you. You are an integral part of the whole. The whole creation needs all of its components, not just some of them. But this world needs you. It needs you today. No one is more important than the other. Now, some people may think they are, but that's their personalities that think that. And it's personality that causes us to feel separate from each other. But in our individual Christ nature is all the same. It's all the same, and I'm no better than you. You're no better than someone else. Our world, our culture, our media exaggerate our differences and make it very difficult for us to transcend that space between us. But the invitation tonight is for you to ponder your oneness with God and your oneness with all people and all life. It is our natural state. And what would that look like? We really don't know. But we are explorers, so we're finding out. Scientific literature tells us that there are a myriad of ways that we can demonstrate our oneness. A mother and child, a child in the womb actually develops a synchronicity with the mother's heartbeat. In breastfeeding, the mother and the child, their heartbeat and their breath become one in rhythm with each other. And in a household or in a college dorm, the women will find a synchronicity in their menstrual cycles. They'll all begin to come into alignment together. Probably the reason that men dislike living in a house full of women. If he has all daughters, they all, get in a grumpy mood at the same time. Here's a great example of oneness. Researchers took individual heart cells and placed them in a nutritive solution, like in a petri dish. And each microscopic cell had its own beat, its own rhythm. Beat, 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 beat. And in a little bit of time, they noticed that two cells came together and started beating together. Beat, 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 beat. And all over the petri dish, there were these duo combinations of heart cells coming together and carrying the same beat. Beat, 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 beat. And then in a little bit later, those duos joined together and made quadruplet joinings, beating at the same beat. Beat, 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 beat. All over the little dish. These individual cells were duos and then quadruplets. And then over time, a little bit of time, not very long amount of time, they became all one group of heart cells beating in one beat together. Isn't that amazing? I love that story. I don't exactly understand why that happens, except there's a call for oneness that not only exists within heart cells, but it exists in everything. It exists within the intelligence of the cells within your body. It exists within your intelligence as a person, that your desire to have oneness with humanity. And it's in everything, this call for oneness. Jesus spoke of this phenomena of oneness when he said, "The Father and I are one." And if you study his work closely, you'll see that he had a deep longing and a deep desire to become one with the Father in all that he did. And that was, he did not want to display personality. He wanted to display God's individuality expressing through him. And that's why he's our way shower and why he's our primary teacher, is because he did that so beautifully and with such commitment. So what is evidence of oneness in your life? The invitation is to start to look for that. Start to look for little synchronicities that you will begin to notice, and maybe some big synchronicities will show up. But start to notice. And if you're a journaler, write it down and become aware of how you show up in alignment with someone else, how you show up at the right time to receive something that you are to receive, how you wake up and you know you're thinking about someone on the other side of the country and you receive a call from that person. That is our oneness tapping in. How you know how to react and respond to a situation from your heart. You know, right now we're getting a lot of media interpretation coming into us. A lot of influence is coming across the screens of all of our devices, and is coming across the TV and our news broadcast and our radio and everywhere. But those are not the important messages to listen for. The important messages are the messages that come from your heart. And I really want to encourage you to start to listen to those this week. Begin to think about your oneness with God and your oneness with other humans and your oneness with all life. Start to look for that evidence and to prove it in your life. Let's pause for a moment of meditation and reflection. Take a deep breath with me. Maybe relaxing. Hopefully you are someplace where you can just shut out everything that's going on and close your eyes and just be right here with me with the sound of my voice, just ready to surrender into that inner space where the Christ lives within you. Sweet Spirit, we join together in heart and mind and spirit. We're here to pause, to reflect. We know that we can only know you greater through our experience, and so we are open to creating and allowing that to happen. We feel our connection with every living thing. We allow our hearts to open to the invitation of oneness with the universe. We become receptive. We want to see with spiritual eyes. We want to hear with spiritual ears. We want to understand with spiritual mind. And we want to be open and loving from spiritual heart. As you pause, think of your friends and family members. They are as diverse as snowflakes. But regardless of how their personalities express, recognize that at the core of their being, the inner Christ resides. And the inner Christ within each of those that you recognize and love is the same as the inner Christ in you. And know that that inner Christ also resides within all people, even those that you do not like. It is this inner Christ that sews us together in a human tapestry. It weaves us together. Let's affirm, I am one with all life. I am one with all. I am one with. I am. I. Know that you are a unique expression of God. Your friend is a unique expression of God. Your family member is a unique expression of God. Your enemy is a unique expression of God. If each one of us is a unique expression of God, then each of us is also one with the One. Each drop of ocean water is a part of the vast ocean. And we are one with all. Let's pause for a few breaths in the silence. From this place of oneness, we celebrate our prayer time together. We celebrate the connection across the airwaves. And we send forth from this sacred heart space our blessing for all people everywhere, for all of humanity. We send forth our love, our compassion, our caring spirit. We lift up all of planet Earth, beautiful planet Earth. With gratitude and thanksgiving, we release these words. We declare that our work is good and complete. We begin to return to this time and space. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Thank you for joining me on Take a Spiritual Journey. It would not be complete if you were not here. We want to thank you for being here with us, and we want to give an opportunity to bless your financial good. If we were in a class environment physically, there would be an offering basket in the middle of the table. And this is the time where we bless your financial substance and we call it good, and we see it multiplying. So if you will take your wallet or your checkbook, place it over your heart, repeat this offertory blessing with me, feeling these words deep within your soul. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive. I give in love and receive in abundance. Thank you, God. I am so blessed. If you would like to share a gift with us tonight, we've made that opportunity available with our Give Plus text number that you now see on the screen. You simply type this number in the address line of the text function and then type the amount you wish to give in the message line. As little as $5 will help keep these broadcasts available for you on your spiritual journey. The number to text is 833-987-2047. You'll be walked through the prompts of this secure service to make a donation of any size to Unity of Gainesville. If you're more comfortable, you can donate at www.unityofgainesville.org. Tomorrow at noon on Thursdays, 12 on Thursdays, I offer Tea and Talk via Zoom. That's where we talk about these ideas that I have offered to you tonight. So please be thinking about your oneness connection with life and other people and planet Earth. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. If you do not have the Zoom credentials, simply message me on Facebook or email me at revrobinvolker@gmail.com, and I will send them to you. This coming Sunday, I'll be right here, and I hope you will be too. My message this Sunday is happier choices. Let's talk about some happy things. And all religions know that it is through the focus of our thoughts that brings us into a happier expression in this life. So I'm going to talk about some of that. I hope you'll join us. So let's close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thanks for being with me. I'll see you next time.